Ladies and gentlemen, from the glamour capital of the world and the John Lovitz Comedy Network at Universal Studios City Walk, Universal City, California, it's time for the Oh Mary Show, starring Mary Kennedy and Paul Jason.
Woo! Here we are.
There we are.
Looking like Easter eggs.
Indeed.
Yeah.
It's sort of a pastel spring excitement.
Yes, we're
here.
matching with the sunset.
Yes, yeah.
Well, I'm Mary Kennedy.
And I'm Paul Jasek.
And here we are on the O'Mara Show. It is April's... Oh, see?
And the Oh Mary studio audience.
Here we are at April 17th, 2014. And folks, we are talking about what, Paul Jasek?
Evil children.
I know, it's exciting. Last week was Titanic.
Well, and there were not many evil children because they all drowned. Well, there were... Oh, see?
Yeah, I love
but
it.
you know, evil children, we all know a few.
Yeah, mine are not. Mine
Yours
good.
are not.
Mine
Yours
are
are good
beautiful
children,
children, and they're although they gave me this horrible cold that you hear
Yeah.
with me now, but they're not evil.
They're not evil. There are, and
And
I've met maybe in my life 8 truly evil children.
like that would kill your cat.
Well, they were pretty devious. You know,
Now
usually,
I want to pay a fee.
Oh, that's
that's
going to
a
be a
creepy
future
one.
sound drop. Ah! Okay, yeah.
but usually it's a parent problem.
No, I agree. It is a parent problem, but they are born that way, and we have a beautiful article, well, not beautiful, scary article from Psychology Today that will discuss this. But, you know, you had required viewing of movies when you were a
did.
child, right? Yeah, you were. And I did too, and my mother made us watch Mommy Dearest
Absolutely.
and her own personal, I think it's part of her parenting too, my mother's own personal parenting tool, The Bad Seed.
Indeed.
And so Angelo, our beautiful sound engineer and showrunner, has put together a little compilation.
I love the bad seed.
of
You-
the,
you
yeah,
know-
and let our viewers know
let's
about
watch.
it. Well, no, but no, tell us, give us some background.
Well, little Rhoda Penmark is the world's best little girl. She's just the apple of her mother's eye, and even their neighbor wishes she had a girl just like little Rhoda, but there's been a problem at school.
What?
Well, a little boy's been found dead. In fact, odd horseshoe-shaped marks on his forehead. And you know, it was funny because earlier in the day he'd won a penmanship medal that mysteriously has shown up in Rhoda's jewelry box.
Oh, so Angelo, we got that scary clip of Rhoda Penmark,
Little Rhoda Penmark, the bad seed.
The Bad Seed. Oh, here
Ah.
I wish she were mine.
Way ahead of me! This was mine! The medal was mine!
Every time I look at her, I wish I had just like a little girl.
Is it true that when blood has been washed off anything, a policeman can still find if it's there? If he sprinkles some powder in the place, will the place really turn blue?
You kidding the boy with your shoes. You did with the shoes, didn't you?
You know, she didn't die at the end of the picture. She became a theatrical agent at CAA.
Say that again.
Little Rhoda Penmark didn't die at the end of the film. She went on to become a theatrical agent at CAA.
That's exactly. She's representing children in the children's department. Well, and who was that actress, Paul Jasek?
Patty McCormick.
That's right.
And she actually still has a dress shop here on Ventura Boulevard in Studio City.
Does she really?
She
really?
does.
Was she really the Bad Seed?
No, you know, Patty did a lot of work in the mid '50s and early '60s, but she has a lot of fans that stop by to see her.
Well, and you're friends with Linda Blair.
I am.
And so was Linda Blair, The Exorcist, everybody. Has she been able, do you think, to have a career since she did that movie?
It was pretty tough, although Roller Boogie almost brought her out of it. which Bob Esty, who's one of my very favorite people in the whole world, who also did Take Me Home for Cher and a couple of other those disco hits, did Roller Boogie as the soundtrack, and it's amazing. It was a much better poster than it was a movie, but
Oh, well.
yeah.
And there was great fashion.
A
Of
great
course.
fashion.
No, but we don't have a guest today. Instead, we have all of the evil children that you love. And there's going to be a lovely clip at the end of the show that just makes me pee in my pants. It really does.
It truly
I enjoy
does.
But let's seriously, everybody. The O'Mara Show, we take interesting topics that sometimes are not so funny
Well,
and kind of make it funny, but also explore it.
in a very real sense, Mary, you also
Have
she's
evil
a,
children? No.
No, you're a teacher K through 12.
Yes.
So, you know,
Youthactingbiz.com.
youthactingbiz.com.
Thank you.
Artist in residence, Paul Jasek.
Thank you.
But here's the deal. I have watched other groups of children, and I would think from a teacher's perspective, can you tell if there's a child that's just having a problem or that there's a true evil in the room?
Oh, well, yeah, there's true evil in the room. I taught a child in my teachership that what I find great is if you're a theater ed major and you do your teachership and your advisor sends you into a classroom full of children that really shouldn't probably be in school but be in jail. That was great. And we're theater educators teaching Shakespeare. That was a great 6 months of my life. Well, there was one student who we did self-scripting, which for you guys out there that don't know this, it's when you write a story about your life and you put it up on the stage. And it's very therapeutic to some people. You know, Shakespeare even started that way.
Absolutely.
You know, and so I was doing this with this classroom, and one of the stories that came out was truly harrowing. It was not little like, you know, when I went to summer camp, I made, you know, like bracelets and headbands. No, this one was about a boy who shoved firecrackers up cats' behinds and blew them up. And so I had to get the psychologist involved, and truly evil. Truly, truly evil, scary.
What if, like the bad seed, what if you're the parent of one of those children?
Well, we talked to the parents, and the parents were equally as scary.
Oh, well, there
Yeah,
you go.
I mean, so,
Well,
but I wouldn't want to be alone in a room with this child.
yeah, I actually went to school with a truly evil child.
Oh, is he in the room? Oh, no.
Who did something similar. He would tie cats' tails together and throw them over a high-tension wire so they would claw each other to death. And
yeah.
then brag about it at school. Oh, Angelo, really?
I don't like cats, but I don't like that. I'm
Yeah,
not,
it was
you know.
he was just the truly evil, evil child.
But you all have, like, I think you all know of kids that if you're alone in a room with them, you kind of know. Like either they're your next door neighbor, they're your cousin that you never really want to sit next to at Thanksgiving. You know, it's a kid that plays with your kid at school. My daughter had a friend like that, and there was no way. We'd always had to be in groups because this kid was very scary.
Do you think it's a psychological problem that we'll talk about a little bit later about whether they're born with, or do you think is it nature or nurture? Is it stuff they're seeing at home?
Well, funny you say that. Psychology Today, I love when this psychiatrist, Nancy Darling, she has a blog with Psychology Today. She goes, psychopaths have been on my mind recently. You know?
You know, that's not something I go, let's say I'll have chicken for dinner, and I worry about psychopaths. Yeah.
She asked the question, can you call a 9-year-old a psychopath? And she did this piece about it, and she said that 10% of people who work in the workplace, so this is bringing in the workplace, about 10% of those people are psychopaths.
I believe that.
That scares me. So if you're next to the water cooler and some girl's twirling her hair a little bit too tight and she talks about blowing up cats, you might want to move your cubicle. So how can you not be chilled and horrified by the tale of a 9-year-old who would throw a toddler in a pool so he could satisfy his curiosity about what it would be like to drown? That's how she talks. That's how she. And she says that kid has me worried. Well, me too. I wouldn't bring that kid to a pool party. But she.
Wow, Angelo. Wow.
But this is her thinking. Nancy says dangerous, unemotional, and hurtful children had started before that. She started thinking about it 2 weeks before that when a friend of hers who teaches special ed in a local elementary school. She's afraid of this one child. And for years, he's been hard to handle. He's been spitting, punching, running around. And that is par for the course when you have special ed or kids with special needs.
Right.
Running around and saying the crudest and most sexually repugnant things that in the classroom, this
How
kid
old is this child?
He's only 5. Anyway,
Oh.
never mind that the child was not close to puberty at all. He would grab and twist the teacher's breasts, pinch an arm, or kicking. This is the child,
Oh,
yeah.
no.
But suddenly he got much worse. He did. Look aside for a moment, and he's gouging out another child's eyes. This is when the school came in. Not a twisting the breast, but gouging another kid's eyes.
Well, I mean, it's just a girl.
That's when it came. So yet again, the woman is kept down by the boy.
Wow,
Anyway, I'm kidding.
wow, wow.
Kidding, huh? Yeah, I know, but
Okay,
go ahead, so yes.
Well, so maybe it's a separate yet very similar issue about bullying. So because what we've learned, because Mary and I are advocates for anti-bullying.
Yeah.
But what we found in our research is many of the bullies have been bullied themselves. So is this a case where if everyone sat down and discussed it, the original bully possibly could be therapeutically helped? But I'm talking about true evil, those psychopathic children that would nod at you going, "You're right, I was wrong," and then set fire to the teacher.
Well, true, and I think exactly, and I think what's happening here is that they're trying to find the right medication for him, but he's going from a behavioral problem to now he's physically grabbing a kid's eyes, you know,
Yeah.
and that's. You know, and so she asked the question, how do parents and teachers cope with a child like that?
Exactly.
And here's where it gets a little creepy, so everybody hold on. And tonight, when you go to sleep, I want you to think about the kid gouging your eyes out.
Oh, Mary. Wow.
So this is what you guys got to be careful about. If you notice a child is callous, unemotional, okay, and callous and unemotional equals a psychopath or a guy I dated in college. Anyway, before I met my love. Anyway, and those kids basically they exhaust themselves to the point of compliance. Okay. Yeah. So if you basically, that's why a lot of these kids are incarcerated, because it takes that point to finally be able to penetrate them by getting them so vulnerable and so at their wits' end that then they're malleable. But at that point, they could have killed your
was gonna say.
cousin, your cat, and put your hand in a blender.
Wow. By that time, because you can't put children in prison.
Well, no, but a lot of these kids
You can
are
send them to
being.
Sherman Oaks Elementary.
You can send Sherman Oaks Elementary. That's another
Kidding.
place.
It's just a
test
joke.
Yeah.
Just a joke.
Well, but what they're doing is they are actually taking these children and having them have MRIs, and they notice in the brain that their structural brain is different than other people.
The bad seed.
There she is.
There it is. Because Rhoda's mother was adopted. She was found in a field. So that's what they're worried about, that that Rhoda is her mother's natural child, but maybe it skipped a generation because Rhoda's mother's natural mother was a mass murderer.
Well, they say the brain, the weight is different. The psychopath's brain is different. The weight is different in the brain than
That's
a regular
interesting.
person.
I wonder if it's denser.
I think we should go and get an MRI together. I think it should
Okay.
be a field trip for the Mary show.
Let me make a note of that. Hold on.
So they say also check out, how does this child interact with other adults? And if you find that the child is consistently pushing the envelope and trying to get their way, we know a child who does this, who tries to get their way and tries to manipulate their way into
love her,
things. No, it's not my kid. I'm not
Oh,
talking about
sorry.
my child.
All right.
Manipulate their way in, and whenever, and also not doing the things that social norms have been established from
Right.
kindergarten, and they keep pushing that envelope, and they keep looking and seeing if people are noticing, and if they, like, you always notice the child. I've seen at parties when we got, you notice the child in the room that's really acting up, and their eyes meet. I see this, and they know that they can't get away with it with Paul, but they can bulldoze it right over me. And so if they know who they can manipulate, so for parents, it's really hard because as parents, and I have 2 kids, you always have one kid who manipulates and one kid who doesn't, and it changes. In this case, this kind of psychopathic child is trying to manipulate their way so they win, and they will win at any cost, and that may be killing somebody. It may be, it's about winning.
I tell everyone you're the best mother. Can
Yeah.
I give you a bushel full of kisses for a basket full of hugs?
And Rhoda wanted that medal. That's right. Yeah, psycho.
Well, and you have to really respect Rhoda because she knew what she wanted. She went after it and got it.
But there's compassion here. So this psychiatrist says that we all have to recognize that they can't feel. They can't feel. It's almost like the child that's born that has no when
Well, that's
touches
like
a hot plate doesn't feel the hotness. Their brain does not feel emotion.
So sociopathically, because they're only interested in their needs and wants and have no concept of how that affects others.
Right. And it's about the medal. It's about winning. It's about, and so here's my.
Bless the parents that when you discover you've got a sociopath or a psychopath as a child. I mean, you just give up early. I mean, you don't have to worry about college.
Well, maybe,
that's nice.
You know,
That's pleasant.
But here's the thing, though. I'm always looking for a solution. So here is my whole thought about this is that they even say this. Even children brought up in the most normal environments, if there is a problem in the brain, it doesn't matter if they have the most loving, incredible parents. There's something off. We all met somebody who's off.
Friends of mine adopted a beautiful baby, and he was lovely. But by the time he was 6, this child was evil, and he is now a Nazi skinhead.
What?
Yeah, and
Did they have any idea?
Just the most evil child, and vicious, and they were forever, and loving people, and a loving family around it, and did everything they knew how. They sent him to a military academy, and for the first time in this military academy's 100 years, he's one of the only 2 people that have been sent home because he broke the instructor's arm.
Oh my God! Well,
so they literally short of prison, and I pray for them because he's now grown into an adult, but
does he have kids of his own?
I think he had one out of wedlock, but and this is in this discussion, he said. Somebody asked him about it. He goes, I don't care. I told her to kill it. I'm like, wow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. It doesn't occur to him. It's only an inconvenience. And he felt trapped by that situation as opposed to a participant in it, do you know?
Well, here's the thing. We all have seen The Omen, right? You've seen The Omen, and the kid's name was Damien. So if you're pregnant, please don't name your child Damien. Really?
And it was a good Irish name.
It was a great Irish name, but it's kind of scary. And so we have a lovely clip of the Omen. It's scary even to, I mean, I can't watch it to this day. It's not like something.
And it was late 70s. Do we know when it was? Like 70?
With Damien, yeah, it was
76.
76. And tell our listeners about what that's about. I mean, our viewers.
Well, it's basically the birth of the Antichrist.
Right around Easter.
And I actually remember watching it in the theater and being flipped out.
Well, and again, I don't think we have a clip. I think we just have the eyes. And the sound and the music. The music is so
amazing.
But again,
I'll never forget that it's Lee Remick plays his mother.
Uh-oh. Here it comes. I think we've got a picture. Ah!
There he is.
Fear the child.
There he is. And Lee Remick plays his mother, and she's doing something on a ladder, and he's on the tricycle and knocks her over the railing, and she's holding on, and he just looks over, not unlike somebody who fell in a bathtub. And we just watch her drop to her death. Whoops.
Oops. Oh, he's scary. Okay. Oh.
There he is, sweet boy.
So he's the Antichrist.
Yeah. 666. It's on the back of his head.
When he was born? His APGAR score wasn't good.
Well, not, but he did do well in the ACTs, and it seems he was part of the Bush administration, actually. He's an advisor to the president.
His APGAR score wasn't good. That's funny. Anyway, I'm hilarious. Anyway, that was funny, Angelo. The APGAR score it tells you how your kid's doing, and he had a.
That's not funny.
I think it is. Well, we're getting there in a minute. We still have some more creepy
Bless
children.
you, Angelo.
So, but how? Okay, now.
Uh-huh.
Some people have adopted kids from, in Russia and China.
Well, look at poor Joan Crawford.
Oh, here we go. I'll give you this moment. Talk about Joan and her children.
Well, she didn't so much adopt them as she bought them. And thank goodness she was already dead when that horrific book came out. I'm not allowed, by the way, to watch Mommy Dearest.
No, you're not anymore. Did you think Christina was evil? Like sociopath? I don't think she was a psychopath or a sociopath. I think
Mommy was just trying to get through. She's a movie star.
She was just trying to put the dresses on the non-wired hangers.
Well, she had a certain way of doing things. Just because Christina's undisciplined.
Well, now, if you've ever been to the frozen yogurt place on a Saturday, you will see evil children who, my thing is children who touch food that I'm going to eat.
Well, not only children. She has a problem with adults.
But if you go into the frozen yogurt place, and I digress a little bit, the kids, there's frozen yogurt places you can go and you can get the little cup of the frozen yogurt and you can taste it to see if you want. They're going up there same time with the same cup, taking their fingers and eating it, and nobody stops them. Like they're privileged
Well,
kids.
that's just bad parenting.
It's psychopaths. They are going to be our future murderers. That's what I say. They
It's
wanted
bad parenting.
a piece of chocolate froyo, and anyway. Well, here's something that I want to talk about. There is a thing you guys can see on the web. It is the 10 most evil children ever.
Ooh.
And we have 3 of them, and you'll have to read along, guys.
Okay.
So if you've been drinking, I'm sorry, but you
Wow.
don't have to read. And basically, we're only going to talk about the 3, and it ends with Mary Bell.
Mary Bell.
Mary Bell. And so it's
Was she your favorite?
she was my favorite because
Okay.
she not only killed one, she
no.
went back for seconds. And I get going back for seconds when it's food, Easter, but I don't get going back for seconds when you're going to kill somebody. I don't know. Have you ever really wanted to kill someone?
Yes.
You really wanted to kill someone?
Yes, and it actually happened. I didn't do it. But
What happened? Oh, you got to tell the story before we go into this clip.
Okay, briefly, this guy bullied me every day through elementary school, junior high, and high school.
Right.
And I was standing in the lunch line, and he once again punched me and said, out of the way, faggot.
Oh.
And I remember I was surprised that the world became very crystal clear. He had really greasy, long hair. I turned around, grabbed my hand into his hair, brought his head into my knee,
Right.
bashing him really hard. Thank
Right,
you.
right.
He fell down on, the linoleum, and I was on top of him, smashing his head into the floor. I caused a concussion,
Oh, sure.
and the poor little, lunchroom lady is like, stop.
Oh, she didn't
Quit it.
lift you up. See, if I was a
No,
lunch
so
lady, I would have lifted you up.
well, no, I almost punched her.
Oh, you almost
So
punched her?
like this, and she backed off. They pulled me off. I'm in the principal's office. They called my mother, and he went in an ambulance.
Yeah.
And
Oh, sure.
the principal said to me, you could have killed him. I said, that's the point.
So you really had the rage. You really
Well,
wanted
it was
him.
past rage into I was good with it. Because this, and my mother said, what do you think you're doing? Here's
Right.
what I find interesting. This is in the mid-'70s. The police weren't called. It was handled internally. Because I turned and said, he has made my life miserable for the past 12 years. Both of you have known it. Neither of you have done anything. I've handled it.
Was it like Stockholm Syndrome a little bit?
And
That
my
he
mother
kept jabbing you?
it was
Yeah.
continual. And I'd had it.
Yeah, I
Now,
get
that's
it.
why when they talk about, had I had a gun, I don't know that I'd be sitting here.
Yeah, you'd
'cause
probably be in jail.
I had
Although
just-
we could Skype you in.
Oh,
Yeah,
see,
see,
that's
that's
nice.
yeah, that's a good one.
I saw Oz. I know what goes on.
Yeah, yeah.
But I still, to this day, I'm like, yeah. Now, here's the other weird thing is between our last day of school and graduation, he was working on his car. His cigarette rolled into a pool of gasoline, exploded, and he burned to death under his car.
Karma. Karma.
And my best friend called me and he said, did you hear what happened today? And I'm like, no, what? And he told me, he goes, well, where were you? And he was half convinced I did it.
Oh, that you burned him in the car.
And I was in Denver at a church function with my parents. My alibi is solid to this day. It was unfortunate.
See? Well,
Does that make me evil?
no, I think you got to your end. I mean, again, and I'm not saying.
And that's 45 years ago, but
And we've stayed away from Newtown and all that stuff. That child obviously was mentally ill. I think the parenting, we talked about the parenting before, the parenting was an issue because the mom bought him an arsenal. I think he had mental issues that they did not deal with adequately. He had a missing dad. Again, I'm not here. I don't, I sometimes say I'm like Nancy Grace, but I'm really not. I can't get, I'm not a detective getting into the bottom of this. But there were issues that made that child do the Newtown, I think. And
what about the Columbine murders? Klebold and Harris. I mean, it was a surprise to their parents.
Well, but did you feel that they were? What did you feel that they were doing it for their 15 minutes of fame, or do you feel like they had come to their end, and this was their way that they were going to get back at everybody?
Well, it's because Colorado being my home state, the little bit of research that I've done on it, it's just a tragedy all the way around. They seem to have this bond of friendship around this darkness. And there is a clip on actually YouTube where they are out in the woods testing the machine guns.
Ugh.
So they were their own two best friends, and it looked like it was just the two of them against the world. So this was a way that they could finally, not unlike my situation, but from other people at school, they didn't know that they were picked on that much. They were just always together. So were they psychologically misaligned, but they found each other in this weird friendship that just exploded badly?
Well, and here's...
But what they did was evil. It was horrible.
Well, it's horrible, but you also, as a parent, I think, okay, my kids could sit in front of this iPad for hours and look at we have parental controls and all that, but I'm saying they could even look at stuff at Angry Birds and all that stuff and think, killing a bunch of birds is totally fine, right?
Well, I grew up with Looney Tunes, where you're blowing, the Wile E. Coyote's blowing everyone up.
But I think as parents, we have to say, that's not real, that you don't do that, you don't hurt people, you don't hit, you don't, I think that's, as parents, you have to come in, you have to know what your kids are doing. My mother, best piece of advice she's ever given me is that whenever you have big subjects to talk to with your kids, you have them in the car, and you are on the highway so they can't get out. You lock all the doors and you talk to them, and I do that with my kids. I do, and they know, and
it's true. It's very.
And they're a little bit scared of me. They're a little bit scared of me, and they're a little bit scared of my mother. It's perfect. They're not so scared of their father, but that's a whole other story. But they're definitely scared of me, and there's a look that I will give them. But speaking of scary people, I want to look at this now. These are real sociopathic, psychopathic, crazy kids.
Excellent.
And I think the Columbine and the other stuff is a little different.
Okay.
People may disagree, but you decide.
Okay.
You decide. It should be here. These are the most evil children ever. I wonder who picks that. Does Barbara Walters pick that? Does she talk? Does Oprah? Who picks it?
I don't know.
Like, who decides who the most evil children are?
I suppose it would be somebody who other people don't think is evil, but they could be evil. It's all, I suppose, point of view.
Do we have the most evil children? They're coming? Oh,
here we go.
Here they come.
Children. What you're about to read about heartless acts of these young children may be disturbing.
Cheers.
But they all currently...
No, you gotta read. You gotta read.
I'm reading, Mary.
Well, no, this is a while, so... Now it's a nice little guitar solo.
I think I have a cataract.
Look at this read about Joshua Phillips.
Joshua Phillips, born March 17th, 1984. In 1998, 14-year-old Joshua Phillips bludgeoned his 8-year-old neighbor to death. Whoops. Joshua claimed that he'd accidentally hit Maddie in the eye with a baseball bat, whoops, causing her to scream and panic as he dragged her to his home, where he hit her again and again and beat her 11 times.
Yeah, stabbed her.
Stabbed. Well, the camera's on. She just wouldn't listen.
His story failed to convince a Florida jury who convicted him of a first-degree murder. His mother is still appealing his conviction based on the fact that he was given an adult penalty for his crime.
Well, yeah, for the simple fact that he killed her over and over. I mean, she wasn't just dead, she was dead.
He doesn't look mean, though. Look at him.
Yeah, no, he does,
He
Mary.
doesn't. He does not look mean.
It's because you're a mom.
Look at these cute boys.
Oh, who are they?
John Venoblis and Robert Thompson.
Oh, cute.
John and Robert, both 10 years old, had been stealing things at the day at the shopping center. Candy, a troll doll, some batteries, a can of blue paint, and some other incidentals.
Beer.
Why did they decide to steal 2-year-old James Bridge?
Oh, I remember this.
Once they had him, they didn't know what to do with him. They could have easily discarded him, leaving him alone on the sidewalk by a shop where someone would discover the crying baby. But John and Robert, like children who would rather destroy their own possessions than give him to another, murdered the little boy.
Oh, awful.
Look at the little boy on the left. The video cameras of the mall caught several images of James Bulger in the hands of the killers, frozen in time. He was to be taken on a long, aimless walk, cruelly tortured along the way. James was senselessly beaten to death by the 10-year-old captors who callously abandoned him on the railroad tracks.
Oh, I can't. I remember.
But look at those faces. If they were at a party, would you sit there and go,
Look at their eyes, Mary. Dead eyes.
You see dead eyes?
Dead eyes.
I don't.
I do.
Look at this one. She's frightening. Mary Bell was convicted of strangling a young boy, Martin Brown, on May 25th, 1968, the day before her 11th birthday. She was, as far as anyone knows, alone on this occasion. On July 31st, 1968, Mary and her friend Norma Bell, no relation to Mary, took part in the death again by strangulation of a 3-year-old Brian Howe.
Oh, no.
Yeah, well, it gets better. Police reports concluded that Mary Bell had gone bad after killing him to carve an N into his stomach with a razor.
No.
This was then changed using the same razor but with a different hand to an M. Mary Bell also used a pair of scissors to cut off bits of Brian Howe's hair and in parts of his genitalia. Mary Bell, people. So that's it for the evil children. Isn't that scary? That's so scary. That freaks me out. Now, she looked creepy. Mary Bell looked creepy. You're shocked. Mary Bell.
They were, well, yeah, but those 2 boys were, that's heinous. Oh,
I
man,
know.
oh, man.
I know. Isn't it frightening?
But once again, you have the sensibility of a mother, though. That's very sweet, because you could, these sweet boys.
No, you saw Dead Eyes.
I did.
How do you
Dead
see
Eyes.
that?
Viciousness. Yeah.
Well, and I have a great segue.
Oh.
Because we need a break. After Mary Bell, I'm like, my heart is pounding through my chest. We are going to go into That's Just Not Funny with your co-host,
Are you ready?
music. Here we go. Here we go.
It's just not funny. With Mary.
God, you're holding those C's long.
And Paul.
That was a See? That was the pre-record.
It's just not funny. It's just not funny with Mary and Paul.
So,
Oh, I'm exhausted.
that was, I love this that he does. Angelo.
Hey, swipe down.
That's
There you go.
not funny.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, here's what's not funny.
Like the last segment wasn't.
Well, no, that was not funny. But I'm creeped out. I'm like nervous. People are not going to be able to sleep tonight because of our show, which is
Well,
fine.
here's the deal. We're in the middle of a huge theme park, Mary. I wonder if anybody here's murdered anyone.
Well, you haven't. I haven't. We're safe. I don't think Angelo has. I hope not.
We work in stand-up comedy. I've watched a lot of people die, though.
All right. So, see, that's the way it is. So here's my, you want to hear something creepy?
I do, Mary.
The Republicans. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
man.
You know,
Talk about evil children.
well, yeah. See, look how what you did there. Well, here's my issue, everybody. So now the Republicans, during Passover and Easter week, decided it was a great idea to do an imaginary primary, which they called the Freedom Summit in New Hampshire, Manchester, New Hampshire.
An imaginary primary. Is it like a reality primary?
Well, this is what I said on our blog. I said they are calling it an imaginary summit. MSNBC called it that, i.e. the Freedom Summit. Are they working on imaginary things to make us feel like we're more free? That's my question.
With imaginary freedom.
So, well, it's their chance to get some of these front runners up. I got to be honest, I did watch some of the footage on MSNBC, and I did not see Chris Christie anywhere. There they are. They're our boys.
There they are.
They are. Can you, Angela, can you make it a little bit bigger so I can tell people who are there? Because I don't know any of these people. Trump. Donald Trump.
Oh,
His
dear.
hair's never been blonder.
Oh.
Governor Mike Huckabee. Senator Ted Cruz and Senator Rand Paul. There
Wow.
they are. Look at Donald Trump's hair. It is the blondest and the most together I think I've ever seen it.
I don't know who does his wigs. It must be the same person that does Joan Rivers.
Exactly.
I think so.
Well, so the 2016 hopefuls were at the Weekend's Freedom Summit in New Hampshire. And basically, they're noting that Cruz had a caustic delivery. He was very angry. And
Darn.
I know. 7 months ahead of the 2014 midterm elections, this is the first in nation primary preliminaries
There you go.
began in the first primary state of New Hampshire on Saturday. So this isn't even really a real primary.
So they're just making this crap up as they go.
Yeah, basically,
basically.
because they're trying to find a good frontrunner. And out of the four that I see there, Trump always, they throw him in there, and he never does it. He never, ever takes the bait and does it because he probably has
The only
so
one's
many...
missing is Rush Limbaugh and Sarah Palin.
Well, Rush Limbaugh was not there. He was not, and Sarah Palin, I think, made an appearance. God help us.
Oh.
That's a huge bitch.
Love you, Angela.
Well, this was the chance for them to basically try to get some donors to the campaign.
Right.
After they all went to Vegas, you know that Chris Christie
Right.
went to Vegas
Yeah.
trying to get cash, and
And the buffet.
he had gastric bypass. He cannot eat that much. So
He's as big as New Jersey.
well. Here's Florida that always keeps on
Florida.
giving. Listen to this note out there. The Wall Street Journal writes about this, that Governor Rick Scott faces a quandary similar to that facing many Republican governors seeking re-election this year after arguing that austerity steps would burn their states, basically.
Right.
They're saying the economy is improving, but many voters remain gloomy about the future. Will they come to see the recovery as strong and they credit their states for policies for that, or do they see this change as part of a broad national trend? Now, let's be honest. Obama is responsible for that national trend. It does not fall equally into the states. It doesn't.
Well, here's what I find. I was talking about this with Sweet Mary Donovan, who does our hair and makeup
Yeah.
for us.
And she
The
hates
fact-
when I put my hair behind my ears.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah. Go ahead, yeah.
The fact that wage equality is still a problem in the U.S. now.
Right.
That just because you happen to have a vagina, you will be paid less.
I'm
I am
being paid
more-
less right here,
Right,
right
yeah.
now,
I'm
yeah.
paid more because of my penis than she is with her vagina.
Thank you. I think I'm going to throw up, but all right.
But that every Republican woman in the Congress voted against marriage or wage equality. Every woman.
Right.
What? You don't even make sense. The one, I think it's Phyllis Schlafly. Don't quote me because it makes me so angry I can almost not speak. She said, "Well, what they need to do, of course, women need to be paid less because they need to find rich husbands."
She's a bitch.
Unbelievable.
Well, so here it is. But there's a lot of women, and I talked to you about this off air. There's a lot of women that feel, even on the Democratic side, that feel that we should be paid less because we do take 9 months to be pregnant. Most of us are working during that 9 months, and then we take some disability, and we have children, and they get sick. But more, my kids get sick. Who also takes off work? My husband.
Yeah, absolutely he does.
So-
you guys you share the responsibility, which is the fact that it's just wrong here in the new millennium that women are paid less. It's just wrong. It needs to be fixed.
Well, and here's what else was discussed at this imaginary primary. Kentucky, Mitch McConnell picked up a nod from the NRA. Got support from the NRA. Yeah,
Sure.
Yeah, really. You're going to do it? And this, Michigan, a GOP Senate candidate, Terry Lantold, told the Wall Street Journal that she wouldn't have voted for the Paycheck Fairness Act because that would require that businesses have to post the pay of each individual's so it was public. I don't think you should have everyone know what your pay is. I don't think she read it.
She didn't read it. It's hard to work with stupid, y'all. What do you do?
That's just
Wow.
not funny.
It's just not funny.
And then our next one is a nod to my home state, Massachusetts, Boston. This is the anniversary, and this is not funny, of the Boston bombing.
The Cradle of Liberty, Boston, Massachusetts.
And I sat up and watched, it's a great documentary on National Geographic about the hunt for the Boston bombers. And let's hear for the Wakefield Police Department, the FBI, Boston Police Department, the state police. They all, it was an incredible, days. There was 4 days that we all were on pins and needles out here, and the O'Mary Show was able to cover some of it for our friends out there. But once again, Boston, you were not the gift that keeps on giving. I felt like I was in Florida for a minute. The Boston Globe reports that there was another potential Boston bomber. Can you believe it? In the same place, in the same area, Boylston Street had to be closed down, the Boston Globe reports. A Wakefield man, which is about, I would say, 15 minutes or 20 minutes north of Boston, was charged with creating a disturbance at the Boston Marathon finish line when he told police he was preoccupied with his performance when he walked barefoot, draped in a long black veil, carrying a backpack containing a rice cooker down Boylston Street. There he is. And Angela, can we play the video? It's even more exciting. Look at him. He's got a mullet, Paul. Maybe there's
Well,
a
at
rice
least he has
cooker in the
hair.
mullet.
Well, at
I don't
least he has
understand.
hair.
He looks like an evil child. I think
He might have been.
so. Here, let's see.
A Wakefield man was ordered held on $100,000 cash bail. He was arraigned today on charges of using a hoax device in a backpack that forced the shutdown of the marathon finish line Tuesday night. 25-year-old Kevin Edson told Boston police he was preoccupied with his performance when he walked barefoot, draped in a long black veil, carrying a backpack with a rice cooker on Boylston Street. Edson was arrested by Boston police. Police Commissioner Evans says there was no breach of security.
By no means was that a security breach because the street was open for regular businesses. Cars were flowing down the street, pedestrians are flowing down the street. You know, that individual came out of somewhere and within a half a block we were on him. We had the bag on the ground. Because we became
He had 2 bags, both with rice cookers.
Had that been LA, they would have shot him in the head.
Sorry, but we're going to increase visibility over the next couple of days because of that incident. We'll have bike patrols down there, but you know, nobody should be afraid to come to Copper Square, and nobody should be afraid to run the 118th Boston Marathon.
Thank you.
A mental health expert told the judge he...
There you go. So I have
sorry.
to say, no matter what you're reporting on, the most serious of serious, when you've got somebody with that Boston accent, it's kind of
I don't know about
funny.
you. I'm sure it's true for you, but I find it really comforting.
You do?
I do, because I know folks from Boston. They don't play.
No, we don't.
You know, the Boston police, they were out there, and the Wakefield police, and they found the bombers, and, you know.
Well, and exactly.
There we are.
And so, and there was one of the police chiefs was talking, and one of his daughters got hurt in the bombing last year, and he said, he goes, I don't want anyone to feel that we're a victim, we're Boston strong, and that's what we all got to remember. But these stupid idiots that come out and do this, did he want his 15 minutes of fame? Is he a psychopath? Did he really want to kill people? The Sinarev brothers, you know, they wanted to kill people. Yeah. They were part of a cell. They were terrorists. I think this guy wanted, you know, 15 minutes of fame. I don't know if he was going to intend, but he did have rice cookers in his bag. So I don't know.
I've had some bad Asian food. Maybe it was a terrorist plot, come to think of it.
I know. Well, maybe
although it was a lot of food for $3.99.
The more you know. That's what we should have done. There you go. So so that's just not funny. So folks, please be careful because next week is the marathon. They're actually running it. They have the memorial on the 15th. So please be careful out there. And we love Boston.
Absolutely.
And you know, they survived.
Yes, they did.
Survived.
And the people that have face such adversity and go on inspire me, and God bless y'all. And Boston, I consider you like my third hometown. So
yes, exactly. You're always welcome in Boston.
Indeed.
And we'll give you a lobster roll.
Well, I'm a little allergic, but other than that, I'm good with the baked beans. I'm good.
Well, and speaking of Boston, and I'm good with the baked beans.
Indeed.
You know what I'm good with? I'm good with taxes. Look at that. Look at that. Taxes Daddy Don tax service. It is past the tax deadline, but you still can do an extension.
Well, if you've been a mess,
yes,
this is the time to get a hold of Daddy Don.
Yes, and so you can go to Daddy Don tax service, and we have we're going to go to break right now.
No, that's not a bad idea. Hold on one second.
Are you going to call him right now?
No, but I forgot to do something the other day.
You forgot to do your taxes? Really?
Let's see Daddy Don.
Really?
Why so glum?
Oh, Mary, I'm swamped. And I haven't done my taxes yet.
Oh, Paul, call Daddy Don.
Oh my gosh, yeah, Daddy Don's tax service.
You know their mission. To surpass client expectations and providing tax services, which are accurate, concise, and understood. They take pride in exceeding clients' needs and concerns regarding tax and financial decisions. I mean, Paul, they're perfect.
You're right. If you're out there and if you're in need, behind, and facing IRS problems, contact Daddy Don's tax service. It's easy to remember. It's daddydon.com. Go there now.
Well done.
Mm-hmm.
Are you hungry?
Oh, yeah.
Are you hungry, Paul? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So...
Are you excited?
I'm excited for this clip that's coming up. So childbirth, everybody, is something that is scary.
Well, it starts. And then there's evil children, but childbirth has to happen.
But you don't, so there's only so many things. I being pregnant, you've never been pregnant. You felt like you were pregnant when I was pregnant.
For a very long time.
There's certain...
3 years.
Exactly. Well, there's certain meters, there's sonograms, and there's tests, and there's blood tests, and all that stuff that you can find out.
Endless.
Angela's dying in there. And there's tons of things that you can tell if your kid is all right. But until that baby pops out and comes to the world and is welcomed in like, like Jesus on Christmas, you do not know what this baby is going to be like. You don't have a clue. You don't.
Right.
So, my favorite clip and my favorite movie of all time, starring one of our friends, Sam Anderson, Devil's Due, put out this incredible YouTube clip that literally just makes my heart sing. I love it so much. And I made my kids watch it yesterday.
Mary?
I did, along with the bad seed.
Really?
Well, it's all part of research.
It's true.
And my son couldn't sleep last night. But otherwise, it's all in the family.
Nick.
So everybody, let's take a look at Devil's Due, the Devil Baby, shall we?
Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to know, Mary has seen that literally like 900 times. I showed it to her the first time, and she's still as hysterical as the first time she saw it. She couldn't breathe the first time. She literally doubled over from the waist, screaming with laughter.
It's hilarious. Thank you. Oh, no, we don't want to do that. No. I mean,
It's pretty funny.
It is pretty funny. I mean, it's like...
Why is it somebody else being like, that's what America's Funniest Videos is, always some child bouncing off a trampoline into a wall or something.
Well, no, but now we can laugh at the Devil Baby and all that stuff and Rosemary's Baby and all that. But I think you brought up a really interesting point as we end the show, because we'll do our final notes and things like that. But we got like 5 minutes left. Mm-hmm. I do, and we've done a lot of topics on bullying and kids and what makes them do what they do. This is the first time that I kind of had compassion, and I might get a lot of hate mail for this, for the kids who do those awful mass, the kid who just did the mass stabbing. I think there's a definite mental issue there that has not been addressed. I really, 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 really do. But I also think it's a social thing too. Whereas, I mean, our kids, is it nature versus nurture? I mean, are kids born inherently evil? Are they taught to be inherently evil? I mean, I bet if we were to do sort of a study of kids who were physically abused for a very long time, they're probably going to have a lot of rage and want to kill, but they weren't born that way. So I'm a little confused. I don't know.
It's disturbing in the fact that you want to believe that every child comes into this world pure and innocent and sweet. It is disturbing that maybe not. Maybe there's that one in however many that really does have a second agenda. So I don't know if it is a social issue. I don't know if it's nature versus nurture. I don't know if it's perhaps a psychological and or spiritual issue. It's complex. Thank God I don't have children. But I have been subjected to evil children, usually on a plane, usually sitting behind me, usually kicking my seat across the U.S.
But you don't think they're going to kill the flight crew, do you?
Well, no, I had a moment where I had to actually look between the two seats and go, "You do it again." And the mother said, "Well, did he do something?" I said, "Oh, it's just between he and I." Yeah.
Okay, so then but that brings us into bad parenting.
Yeah, well, most parents need to be, especially with bad children, need to be tasered.
Oh, okay. But do you think parents have the capability? I'm not talking about parents who abuse or that kind of stuff, who are psychopaths themselves. I'm talking about, say, your very privileged Studio City mother. Do they have the capacity of creating an evil child? Like literally, that's gonna set cats on fire.
There's a huge difference between evil and entitled.
Okay.
There may be traits of evil, but inherently they're not evil. They've just been allowed. There's been
no consequences.
No consequences and lack of discipline. Discipline is not a bad thing. Within a routine and discipline are how children, get comfortable and grow into themselves, I believe. But when I watch sometimes in restaurants, and, we do love our snacks.
Yeah.
We have watched children run up and down, spill stuff, get in waiters' way. I don't know about you. But when I was growing up with my family,
you'd be hit.
I spent a lot of time in the car, or we just got up and left. And I remember my mother saying very quietly, because she would lean down, it looked like she was helping me, but she'd grab this little artery right here and be helping me along, saying, other people don't have to put up with you.
But see, as a parent, as a mother, I'm very clear with my kids. I give them
and they're
2 chances, and then we're done. We're
done.
No, I don't do that. But there are a lot of people that, a spanking here and there isn't going to kill anybody. But here's the story: just don't get caught. But here is what I'm saying is that there are other mothers though in the group that I hang with that they think I'm a little too hard on my kids. I had one mother when I couldn't pick up my daughter. No, this is a great story. My daughter went missing at school pickup, and it's around a busy street. This is the old school that they were at.
Right.
And I couldn't find her, and she walked away. I could not find her, and I got crazy, and I was walking through the school, and I saw her, and I went, "You!" And the other mother was like, "You're being too hard. Why are you yelling at her? She's scared." I go, "Because she walked in the street."
But here's the deal: she knew better.
She totally knew better.
She totally knew better. So catching her with that, she won't do it twice.
Oh, never again.
Oh, no.
But that mother, so there are mothers and dads out there that are too easy on their kids, which is a whole other show.
And people are allowed to raise their children however they want.
Right.
But they're also allowed to, be ostracized and pointed at in public. Bad person, bad parent right there.
But I don't know if those parents are creating the Damians of the world. Are they?
Well, it's interesting, nature and nurture, because there are those few, like that family I was telling you that adopted that child. Poor thing.
Well, let's look at a picture of Rhoda.
Oh, let's
Rhoda
do.
Penmark. Let's look at her. Let's
like
just look at her.
Penmark.
I want to see if you see dead eyes with her. I don't think so.
What I loved about Rhoda,
do you see dead eyes? I see
Don't you?
angry. I see hungry.
No, but here's the deal. Rhoda, to be a really good sociopath, you have to be incredibly smart. And Rhoda figured she was smarter than everyone around her. Her mother was milquetoast. You could have pushed her down the stairs really easy. And stupid Henry, that she set fire to. Well, if he'd just given her the shoes. Rhoda's needs and wants were very clear. She asked for it. Yeah. She asked for it. As she said to her
great
mother,
sunglasses. Give me those shoes.
I asked him, and she goes, "You created the little." She took her shoes off with her little taps and smacked him in the head till he drowned. But she got the medal. So in a goal-driven society, good girl.
She's running Enron right now.
Well, not Enron. She's actually she runs Mary Kay actually. That's so vicious.
She does. She has a pink car.
Yeah.
She's wearing sunglasses. But now, I want to clear this up before we go on to our list of final notes.
It's a joke, people.
Oh, they're fine. They know us. They know that we're going to be sick and twisted. Who would be the horn? And because I watched by the way, the Titanic archive will be up. What the honking horn and the people screaming? Fantastic. Thank you. So you don't think she has dead eyes?
Yeah, I do.
You really thought she had dead eyes?
Yeah.
We're going to play that game at the mall one day. You and I are going to go.
Okay.
And we're going to pick out dead eye kids.
Let's do. You're on. And then let's talk to them. Especially when there's a kid at a restaurant who always is jumping back and forth on the booth behind me. And especially if he's under 5, I always lean forward and say penis. Yeah,
No!
I do.
Oh.
Yeah, well, then they won't have
penis was a beautiful thing.
See?
Yeah, penis is not a bad word.
Yeah.
Penis, it's part of our.
Yeah.
And I'm not the type of mom that would go. Well, I do say tootie to my daughter. I say go put your tootie away. But I do say vagina and penis. I say the real thing to them. I don't.
Well, yeah, these euphemisms, he's like cutesy, you know.
Yeah, no, I may say pee-pee to him, but
Yeah.
that's if I'm like
Mossy Grotto or Secret Dark Place or whatever. We're not having that. There's real names for them.
All right, we're in our last final announcements here.
Indeed.
One day we'll have a roll. I got to talk to Angela about that. A roll of thank yous. Like
You mean a crawl? Indeed.
A crawl, yeah, whatever.
Okay.
I'm so on cold medicine. I have no idea what I'm talking
Poor
about.
thing.
So, folks,
Indeed.
our bedside list. We have the bedside list,
Which is
will
our
be on
wonderful books
website.
of our wonderful authors that have been guests on our show.
The one that we're
Featuring?
this week
Yes.
is The Whip by Kim Kardashian.
Lovely. It's a wonderful book.
Tell them a little bit about it.
The whip refers to stagecoach drivers with a whip. You need to read this because it's set here in California in the Gold Rush about the whip, this guy who was a stagecoach driver, who was married and had children and so forth, and upon his death found out that he had been a woman the entire time.
Yeah, it's very
It's a
interesting.
wonderful book.
So get that on Amazon. That's right. And it's a little. It's
The Whip, Karen Kardashian.
There's no dom about it though. It's not a sex. It's not like 50 Shades Grey.
I have no
We
words.
lost our son too. The O'Marians.
yeah,
It
just-
just says oh. No, it's fine. It's funny. It's the red moon. Or what was it? What's
The blood moon.
The
yes.
blood moon. That's
yes,
what I
this
meant.
week. The eclipse.
Because I had it stretched out for when we had the Titanic background last time. I just realized that.
Oh,
No worries, I like
it's fine.
it.
I
It's
like the
creeping
little.
away.
It's
Yeah.
a little sexy kind of thing. And then, folks, if you want to catch us on Twitter at MK Comedy, and we have a live show coming up Friday, May 2nd here at the club, the John Lovitz Comedy Club and Vodcast or Podcast Theater. The people that are starring on the show are
Here we are.
us, of course, and Matthew Noriel will be doing comedy.
Indeed.
Eric Hahn,
Eric Hahn, one of the funniest men in the world,
Kira.
along with Matthew Noriel,
Yes.
my radio husband.
yes, and Kira Sultanovich.
Ah, love Kira.
And
Kira
then-
and I worked together for Joan Rivers.
And then with us too, of course, we will be there. They can sit on. I think we're gonna have a table. It's gonna be kind of like this, but
We're looking
like,
forward to
like
it. Wait,
an Easter
you guys,
table.
if there's a way, can we invite these folks?
Of course.
Won't you come see us live here?
I think they
at
can see
City
the
Walks?
live stream.
Oh, and you can watch live
Or you
stream or
can
come join us here in the theater. We'd
Yeah.
love to see you.
Exactly. And so Friday, May 2nd is that show. And then Friday, July 18th is another live show here. And then April 25th, we have Steve Bluestein in the studio.
Steve Bluestein.
And then we want to thank Mark Short, Christina Sorge, Dee Burdett, Angela Pisu. Thank you, Angela. Mary Donovan, Tom DeFleur, Charles Hall, Morgan Hall Productions, Liza Kranis, Shane Saul, John Paul Capiello, Brenda DiGirolamo, who did the theme song, the O'Mary
Indeed.
theme song, Sandy Harris, Harlan Bowl, and our viewers like you. You can
Like
see
you.
us every Thursday here, live at 7 o'clock or 10 o'clock. We're here every week, and we can't wait to see you next week.
We'll see you next week. Take care of yourselves till we're back here with you.
And I'll be with an evil child.
Usually me.
Yeah, right there.
We'll see you.